right, so see the board? Okay, so I want to kind of talk to you guys about something else. So I want to talk to you guys about floor-to-floor height. Okay, I got to erase some of this because it's not very visible. So if I have a floor slab and I'm using that cardboard that we've been using at 1/16 of an inch to a foot, how thick is that floor slab? First of all, how thick is this cardboard? 1/16 of an inch. So at 1/16 of an inch equals 1 foot.
1 foot.
1 foot. Very good. So 1 foot 0 inches. Okay? Now, you're required to have a floor level to floor level height that's called finished floor to finished floor height of 16 feet, which means that the height from here to the top of this slab here is 16 feet. That make sense?
Is that pointing to the top part of it or the bottom? Okay.
Pointing to the top. So to use this building as an example, right? If you are in the bathrooms downstairs, or let's say you're in the lobby, the center part, the floor-to-floor height is the concrete floor down on the ground floor measured to that walkway that's between the two halves of the building. So it's the top of surface to top of surface. Okay. So top of surface right there, and this is top of surface here. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. So if that's the case, then what is the distance between these? 15. That is 15 feet. Correct. Very good. Now let's hypothetically say that I put another slab here. Okay? So now, what is the distance from the top of this slab to the top of that slab? 16 feet. Very good. And what is the distance from the top of this slab to the top of this slab? 32 feet. Very good. Now, what is the distance from the top of this slab to the bottom of that slab? 31. Right? Because from here to here, 32. If we go down 1 foot, it's 31. Okay? So it's important to kind of note that. So the space between the floors for one level is 15. The space between the floors for two levels combined into one space is going to be 31 feet. Okay? All right, any questions about that? No? All right, good. So one of the ways that you guys can approach doing this is to cut some strips. I'm going to move these off to the side here. Is to cut some strips that are 15 feet tall and some strips that are 31 feet tall. Okay? So here we go. Hopefully the camera can see this. So 15 feet is 1/16 of an inch under, right, the entire amount. And I'll do the same thing over here. So that is a strip that is 15 feet tall. All the way across there. All right? What you're trying to do with that is you're trying to cut it out so that you can bend it into a shape that will allow you to sort of set your floor levels evenly apart. Let's make sure through. So at 1/16 of an inch to a foot, how tall is this? 15 feet. That's what we just did. So what you want to do with this thing is you want to kind of bend it into a shape, a little triangle like that, right, that you can set between the levels. So I happen to have one already made right here. See, did it yesterday. So if I'm trying to take two of these levels and work with them on my site, what I might do, those of you that are over here, hopefully you guys can see this, is I might take a piece like this. That's big. This one. A piece like that, and then say, well, I want to stack another element over top of it. And so that gives me the correct height between the floor levels. Okay? So there's 15 feet from this surface to the underside of that, or 16 from top to top. Now, if I wanted to do 2 stories, I could use one of these. So this one's 31 feet high, so I could temporarily set that right there. Where's the other piece I just made? In the other class, I had some person, when I asked them how they would approach doing this, the first thing they said was, oh, I'm going to do it in the computer. And different techniques that we've taught you, right, subtraction and collision, both lend themselves to development on the computer faster than they do by hand. But polygonal forms and folded forms do not. So I would really kind of be careful with that. So if I wanted to create another level here, right, I could start to sort of position it like that. Okay? So that just helps me to kind of get my levels to where they're staying the same. And one of the things that you guys have to be you have to take into consideration is what happens if I'm going to put this over here?
Dropping a foot.
I got a problem, don't I? Because now it's a foot short of this because it stepped off of here. So one way that you can kind of get around that is to put a piece underneath it to get it to stay level. And so that would allow you to kind of take pieces like that and kind of come off of it.
That's allowed.
What do you mean it's allowed?
Adding that extra.
These are temporary. These are not, they're not in your final project. If you look at this final project, you weren't going to see any of those things there. All that these pieces are doing is allowing you to sort of build it, right, and sort of see how the folds go.
So you can have like 2 walls on that same slab, basically like that wall here and this one.
That's a very unorthodox connection, but it sort of depends on the condition. You cannot enclose, you can't have 2 walls that connect to each other.
But you can do it that way.
Possibly you can. It's going to depend on the condition. So this is just one example. We've got lots of different examples. We're going to bring more of them in. Okay, so is there any questions about that? How many minutes are we at? You were supposed to warn me at 6. Any questions about how we can stack this stuff up to sort of start to make this? Okay, so go ahead and stop.